Hey, what is up, guys? So I am back right here. This is, of course, Armin. For those of you that don't know, that might be new to this channel. So this video is going to be different. Instead of talking about the news or anything like that, I'm going to talk about something personal that happened to me just last night. Now, I did post this on our Facebook page and our Twitter, so many of you might have seen it, but I want to try to convey the story and what exactly everything that happened was. So if you guys saw, in the last couple of years, I started to introduce my daughter into a lot of the aspects of what I love, which would be everything you guys see behind me. Marvel, DC, video games and things like that. Now, for those of you that don't know, yes, I have a daughter, my wife, Shay, which I'll put her channel right here. Some of you, I think, are already subscribed, some of you aren't. We were teen parents. We were very young, but we structured our lives and we were able to come through all the obstacles thrown at us. And pretty much we live a great life now. I'm doing this for a living. She has a great job. Our daughter is growing up slowly, and it's just a great time, And I know there's a lot of younger parents that are subscribed to this channel, so maybe you experience something like this too, or maybe someday you hope to. And this is kind of just going to talk about something that happened. So I've talked about this before Star Wars came out, but my daughter, as she wanted to get into some of this stuff, she was like, oh my god, Star Wars, I'm seeing it everywhere, I have to watch what it is. And we showed her all the Star Wars, and she fell in love with them. Absolutely loves Star Wars. She's got the books now, she's got her own copies of the movies, she's got action figures that are her own. She loves Star Wars. But the next thing on the agenda was comic books. She's never really understood why I love them, and to her and all her friends, there's no difference. They come to our house and they look at everything, they're like, why isn't Batman there? Why isn't Supergirl there? We're like, oh, that's Marvel. To them, that's never really made a lot of sense, but I've tried to get into their, head and be like, well, there's different companies, and these characters represent DC Comics, these represent Marvel Comics, and they've slowly started to understand this. So now no more do we get the question, like, she'll walk up to the poster and be like, when is Superman going to show up to help, this guy? We don't get that, because now she has a distinction. And I've even done a good enough job to tell her why the Fantastic Four and the X-Men are not part of the Marvel movies. So now she even understands that. And recently, a couple weeks ago, we started our marathon with her for the first time ever to get through Phase 1 and 2 all the way to lead to Civil War, because she's really wanted to get into it, seeing us constantly talk about it and seeing all these figures, and she's heard me talk about how much I love Captain America and why he's so important to me, and Spider-Man and bullying and depression and how those characters helped me overcome this. So she's really been interested, but she never wanted to watch anything related to these characters without me being present. So we said, fine, before every Marvel movie we do a marathon, so you're going to join us in. Now, I should say she's only seen one Marvel movie to date, and that was Guardians of the Galaxy. And she was really young, but it looked fun, so we took her to the theater to see that, and she really loved the hell out of it. Like, she has her own copy of Guardians of the Galaxy, has coloring books, it has a few action figures, so she loves Guardians. But she never really understood what it was, and this is before she had any correlation with what a Marvel or a DC was. So keep that in mind. So we started watching all the Marvel movies a couple weeks ago. Of course, we started chronologically. So started with Captain America, and she really loves the first Avenger. She loved the relationship, loves Peggy Carter and everything like that. And she was like, okay, I see why you love Captain America so much, but it's not her favorite movie. So then we watched Iron Man 1, and she likes Iron Man 1, but she doesn't like Tony Stark. So that's, another child thing. She was like, I don't like how he's rude and stuff. And of course, she's a child going through, young elementary school, so there's a lot of bullying and stuff that happens at this age, so I can see why she doesn't like that. And then we got to Incredible Hulk, and this is where things started to click with her, because we watched it, and she really loves the Hulk. It's her favorite Phase 1 film. Sure, preference, right? Opinion. She loves the Incredible Hulk. And at that moment where Tony Stark walked in, she's sitting there, she was completely quiet and goes, huh, I wonder. But she didn't continue talking. Now, mind you, she knows the Avengers, she knows what it is, but I don't think anything's clicking in her mind yet, because she's not making that correlation between the two. And then we watch Iron Man 2, and once again, she's watching it, and she didn't say anything. At the end of that, she was like, that was Black Widow, I know that, and I like Agent Coulson. Where's he going? And then the end credits clip happens, and she sees the hammer. She goes, huh, I know that hammer because you have a hammer over there that looks just like it. She goes, that's Thor. So we're watching Thor, and Hawkeye shows up, and her, like, mind starts to work in this way where she's like, wait a second. And then, you know, Salvig is there, and she sees Coulson again. She goes, wait a minute, that's the guy that was just with Tony Stark. So she starts putting the pieces together. She's like, wait, did that guy mention Gamma? Isn't that what the Hulk? And I'm just like, well, me and Sharon, just keep watching, okay? Just because, you know, kids at a young age, they like to ask a million questions. Even if it's right in front of them, they'll be like, what's that? What's that? What's that? You know, they want to know because they're so excited. So we finally get to Thor, and she's watching it and goes, oh, wow, Loki's really crazy. And then she's like, okay, so we're watching this and all that. And, you know, she's connecting all the pieces. And we're like, all right, well, it's time to watch the Avengers. And she was like, okay. She still doesn't really have a core concept of what the Avengers are, mind you. And we're watching the movie. And she's asking a lot of questions at the beginning. And she sees Black Widow. And then we get to Mark Ruffalo. She's like, who is that? I'm like, oh, that's the Hulk. They have to change him. She's like, Hulk's my favorite. I don't know if I like this guy. By the end of the movie, she does like Mark Ruffalo. But it was that this jarring, you know, because Incredible Hulk is her favorite Phase 1 movie. So she's watching. She's like, okay, I like this guy now. But she's starting to connect all these pieces as it gets going. She's like, oh, wait, that's Agent Coulson. Wait, there's Captain America. And I'll get back to Captain America and where he is in a little bit. And she's like, oh, Tony Stark. Okay, wait a minute, that tower. Why does that look like all the letters are going to go missing and be the Avengers Tower? Now, mind you, she made this correlation by herself, not ever having seen the Avengers Tower. She was like, oh, and at the end of the movie, she goes, I knew it! Like when that scene happens. But leading up to that, she's completely awed as to what's happening, how they're melding everything. And she understood the entire plot of all the Marvel movies going up to this point. Mind you, still a child. And she's seen the giant battle and everything. And this is the first time in all the movies, quiet. Not one word is said from the moment the action starts to the end of the movie. She's just going, like, literal shock in her. She and I are just looking at each other, looking at her, and she's just like moving closer and closer to the TV, like, this is something. Now she's kind of starting to, you know, turn the wheels in her head are moving. She's like, I see why they love this. And this is where it really turns special. The movie ends, and she's like, that was amazing. I didn't understand why you guys love this. But she understood it at that point. She looks at me and Shay goes, wow, I can't believe that they're going to have Spider-Man in that scene. And she was talking about the scene where the camera pans around all the Avengers. To her, she was literally us. Like, she was me at that moment where she saw that for the first time. She was just going, oh my God, because that's the first time you saw everything converge into one. And a child now was able to make that correlation and understand what was happening. And then the credits roll, and she's like, just doesn't stop talking, doesn't stop talking. She's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And we're like, oh, actually, there's one more scene. Now, I said she's seen Guardians of the Galaxy. She's never made the connection that that's a Marvel movie. She knows it's a Marvel movie, but she's never made the connection that it's a Marvel Studios movie that she's watching right now. And she's seen the guy, and she's like, oh, court death. She's like, oh, that's bad, right? Courting death. And then Thanos, she goes, oh. And his face turns and he smiles. And she pauses and takes like 2 seconds and goes, oh my God! Oh! Like, she was literally me when Spider-Man showed up in my reaction trailer. She freaked out. She was like freaking out, throwing everything, like her pillow was flying. She goes, you guys, did you see that? That was the guy from Guardians of the Galaxy. And then she paused and holds on a second and goes, oh my God, are the Guardians gonna team up with the Avengers? And literally, she goes, I have to go. Packs up all her stuff and runs over to my grandparents. And this is like 10 at night. My parents live about 2 houses down, actually 3 houses down, technically, because there's a little lot between us. So she just runs over there, and we're like, oh, okay, I guess she's sleeping over there. I know at that moment, she was at my parents' house just jibby-jabbing away about what she just saw. 30 minutes later, my wife and I are sitting there, and we're talking about what just happened with her, how excited she is now. She understands what Marvel and Disney have done. We got a call, and she goes, oh my God, I got one question for you. Oh, okay. are Daredevil and Jessica Jones going to be in the Avengers? And my first reaction is, how the hell do you know who those are? That was my literal reply. And she goes, oh, well, Dito and I watch it. Now, I am Bosnian, and Dito in Bosnian is grandpa. And I'm just like, Shay, did you know she watches Daredevil and Jessica Jones? No, me either. Oh, yeah, they're pretty great. They're part of the same universe. And then there's a pause, and she goes, oh my God, and just hangs up. And that's the magic of what Marvel did. If a little child who can't distinguish Marvel from DC in Phase 1 has now made the correlation, and by seeing one other movie, which is Guardians of the Galaxy, has now made a connection, that she is freaking out about every single thing that is happening in Marvel now. She wants to read comics now, she wants to look at the books, she wants the coloring books, she wants her own figures, she wants to cosplay a character when we go see Civil War. And it was like this truly great moment, because it wasn't that I exposed her to this for the first time, which was a huge part. It's that she has now become us. She understands now. Like, she is part of that fandom. And not because of anything that I force her to watch it. I let her watch it at her own time, and I let her come to it, and she's now witnessed what it was. And she's made those connections. And she's even asked, earlier this morning, bringing her to school, she goes, so those X-Men movies, they're not really gonna be watched, are they? We're like, no, they're not really part of this whole Marvel thing. She goes, that's good. I've seen one of them, and I really didn't like it. So there you go. I just wanted to share this story. Hopefully, it brightened your day. It brightened my night. Hell, fucking made my night amazing, because my child now understands why I fucking love Marvel and their cinematic universe and what magic they've created on the screen. And I cannot wait for her to witness, some of the other films that are there. And specifically Civil War, because that changed me, again, as an adult. So I wonder what it's going to do for someone that is going to be their first exposure to Spider-Man. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and let me know your thoughts down below.
Hey guys, Armin here, just reminding you that this video was made possible thanks to patrons. If you guys are interested in supporting us and making sure we keep the lights on, check out our Patreon, where you can join other fans in supporting the CBC, delivering content you guys have come to love and expect. And if you can't do that, give us a like and a subscribe. That goes a long way too.